not a good start, you being dead little. I mean, yeah, I'm not making any jokes. I'm not making any jokes. But you're dead little on the screen, Baz.
Well, you know, it has been said before, mate.
You know,
by you generally.
That's.
Oh, I am little, aren't I? I've just clicked on to have a
You
look.
are little. I'm trying to fix, and I'm sort of bleeding into your side of the page.
That's
as well.
not. I mean, I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Because it's not science. But let's read some comments out while we wait anyway. Richarlison better than Firmino on YouTube says Mick Kegger. Yeah, Mick Keane has been excellent. I think he had a little dip around the middle of November, but then has came back really strong lately. So been excellent. Steve Davies says, "Ped and Baz, how good is it to have someone like Dean rushing to get fit, unlike Delph, who rules himself out at every opportunity, and to think he was signed as a leader." Yeah, I think the Delph is starting to wind me up now. I've got to just try and forget about him because he has been a bit of a disastrous signing. It's frustrating, but there you go. Andrew Cunningham says, "Don't forget, every time you click a like, Baz gets his wings." Matt O'Regan says, wherever he's gone, I don't know what Matt O'Regan is because I haven't seen any kind of comment.
Don't forget, the same way that every time you click a like, Baz gets his wings. Every time you become a patron, I get a tile for my kitchen.
Yeah, it's like a bit like when you're buying a brick for Goodison. It's trying to buy a tile for your kitchen. Kevlar says, "Hey lads, hello." Richarlison says, "Very strong rumours from Charles Stevo." Says that Ped has agreed a YouTube boxing event at Goodison Park, fighting against DT. I mean, that would be an interesting thing at Goodison Park. Very interesting fight between Ped and DT.
I don't know whether DT would allow it to be at Goodison Park, though. I don't know.
No, he'd want it.
I don't know whether he could come this far north.
No. He could have essentially fight you in Birmingham and his forehead to be at Goodison. But, I think it'd be better having like a fight to just be... We've seen that before, but basically like...
Can we do like...
Eminem? Can we like 8 Mile?
Look, can we do like American Ninja? Get like a big assault course, or like that wipeout assault course.
Wipeout,
and just do that because there's less contact. Because I think I've got an unfair advantage. I've got more head to punch on him, so that's unfair on him. That I've got more surface area to hit on his forehead. Do you know what I mean? And that's Exactly, lad. Oh, Baz has gone off and gone. Oh, go on. You're back now. Come on.
Yeah. Paul Early, Godfrey or Holt?
Go on. What's your thoughts? Yeah. Where do we stand at the moment? What's the score at the moment, though? What are we waiting for with the Villa game? When will we know if it can fit? Because they're not back in training yet, are they? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're not coming through at all. I don't know what's going on here. You're frozen and there's no sound. You've gone full let it be. Or let it go. I don't know what's going on. This is live TV. This is live TV. This is what happens. Baz has gone full back.
Oh, you just saw?
No.
I reckon I'm going to be better.
Go on.
I think it might be better now.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, I'm just watching you. You can hear you. Sometimes you're freezing, but that's just life. I don't really know what we can do about that. But we can hear you. So long as we.
You can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right, okay. All right, okay.
I mean, you look like Darth Vader under the mask, but that's a different story.
Okay. Steve Kenny says, "Love the show, lads. Any concern about Dom's goals drying up a bit lately?"
No. Why are we looking for negatives?
No, I think he's just wondering. I think he's just thinking about that. See, for me, I think it's more a case that we haven't created for Dom. I don't think he's missing loads of chances.
No.
If he starts missing lots of chances, then maybe you go, oh, he's got to get in better form or whatever. But I think it's more to do with us than it is for him at the minute. That's what I've taken from it anyway. Steve Davis says Toffee TV and lots of Everton fans were conned by Balassi on social media. The guy is rinsing the club every week. He's an enemy of any. He's not. He's a footballer that wants to play football, and he's not going to move to another club unless it suits him, whether we like it or not. You're trying to reach into my head there.
I'm just showing him the power of my abilities.
Whether we like it or not, right? It's one of them things. Basic trigonometry says to tell Zach to get off Fortnite.
I know. I think this is what goes on.
Listen, I can't even blame him. He's in the kitchen doing homeschool with his mum. He's doing maths.
Have you bought
You
need to buy a hotspot.
Mate, I've literally had Virgin in here. My internet is the fastest and the best.
Clearly,
well, it is.
Clearly, because you look like.
Well,
yeah, go
on. I'm actually blaming OBS.
It's not OBS.
But how come every time I do Zoom or anything with anyone else without this, it's perfect, no problem?
Because they're not as technically as equipped as me.
Yeah. If you say so. Mitchell says, hang on, Balassi, yeah, that's a different one. Glenn Watson says, Baz, only one question. If you could sign only one player from a current club in the bottom three, Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United, who would it be and why? It would be Anguissa, I think, from Fulham. I think he's kind of what we need in midfield. I think he'd accompany Allen and Decore really well, personally. But that's what I think. Mike Diaz says, seeing Baz and Ped reaction yesterday, say Mina was fantastic. Can't get my head round it. Not in a million years. Michael Keane. That was Michael Keane. Mike Diaz, go and look at his numbers.
Can they not be both good?
No, because there's a thing about Yerry Mina. There's a narrative about Yerry Mina that he can't be good.
I give Michael Keane a 9 and I give Mina an 8. Because they were both really good. Like, really good. They both did their jobs impeccably. I mean, this is what you're looking for, isn't it? You're looking for players to do the job. If you can tell me what Mina's done wrong, that's fine. We can have a conversation, but I don't know. This is what it is.
It is what it is. Listen, I'm not trying to convince anyone. I watched the game and Yerry Mina was sound. End the story. And his stats have all backed it up. So if people don't like him, that's fine. I'm not trying to convince people to like him or not to like him.
The numbers work as well. The numbers are there to prove it.
Exactly. So people will have to make their own decision. It's only my opinion. But when I looked at his numbers were excellent. Absolutely excellent. We did it on the final word. We went through his numbers. When you look at any kind of stats from the game, and it's sometimes good to look at other to get a thing from it. Yerry Mina, % passing accuracy.
Mm-hmm. Only if we sell Moise Keane. I think if we sell Moise Keane, then there's a chance, but I don't think we will unless we do. I don't, I'm in two minds of whether he's actually good enough for us. Genuinely, I think I'm just a little bit. I used to think, yeah, I used to think he was exactly what we needed, but now I'm just a little bit unsure whether he's good enough for us, whether he's exactly what we need.
I like Max Aarons, I really do, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I honestly really don't know. It's I'd like him. I think he's good. I've seen him for Norwich. I like the way he would improve us. I don't think there's anything different to that, but who knows?
Yeah, fair enough.
Who knows?
Fair dues. Fair dues. I'm just looking.
You have to go on.
No, I was just looking at the sofa score stats. That's what I'm just checking there. Michael Keane was 8.3. Yeremina was 7. Tom Davis was 7.1. Abdoulaye Doucouré was 6.8. Mason Holgate was 6.2. Ben Godfrey was 6.9. Luca Dean was 6.4. Luca Dean was the same as Gylfi Sigurdsson according to SofaScore. James Rodriguez was 7.3. Abdoulaye Doucouré was 6.8. So in terms of man of the match last night, it was from SofaScore, which is an independent body. It was Michael Keane, Alex Iwobi 7.6, James Rodriguez 7.3, and then Tom Davis 7.1. Oh, cat amongst the pigeons.
Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. What was I going to say? Les Roberts, Blue Room says, hello, Les. Says, what games are you currently playing on the PS?
Baz has got
started
a boss update on that score.
I have. I'm actually now playing. I'm playing Valhalla, which is amazing. And I'm playing Last of Us 2 at last. And I've just learned how to strum Take On Me on the guitar.
That's all you want in life.
And it's boss. It's boss, but Days Gone is supposed to be really good.
It's not though, is it? Come on, it's not the Last of Us 2, is it? Come on. It's not though, is it?
No, it is. I'm saying it's supposed to be really good. But The Last of Us 2 is very, very good.
I don't know now what to say.
Stop ASMR me off. Sophie Gallagher says Luca Dean is the best left back. When will we find out about the Villa game? Weren't they meant to be having a meeting today? I think they're going to wait till Friday. Someone said before. I don't know how accurate that is, because if they can open that
big body
on Friday, then maybe big body. Then Villa can train then, which will mean the game can go ahead. Doesn't it?
I don't think it's a meeting. I think it's a case of...
That's essentially...
I don't know what I think it's like... It would have to be at least 2 days, surely, now, to get this... looked at. It would have to be 2 days, wouldn't it? If we're going to do it properly. That's what Spurs... But saying that, Spurs and Fulham was less, wasn't it? I don't know. The game's... As we stand, the game's on, isn't it? It's only other people talking about it, so the game is on. And we'll just have to go from there. And To be fair, I mean, if you look at it other than Adelaide,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Ashish Bavshar says Moise Keane is having definitely. Say it again.
Right now, how late are you? How behind are you on me there? I said something about 5 minutes ago.
I know. I don't know. It just like clicked back. You went, if you look at it, and then I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, because you already started talking.
Say it again.
I can't even remember what I was. Oh, I was gonna say, if you look at
Moise Keane, PSG.
oh my God, are we in 2 different time zones?
Yeah, it feels like.
What I was gonna say is actually the Villa game. If we don't know what their situation, they're not training properly. So at the moment, if the game was on, okay, yeah, we are without the core, and it sounds like we are without Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well, by the sounds of it. But still, we, in terms of like everything going for us, we would put a stronger team out than them. We're playing well away from home, so really, it would probably be in our disadvantage not to play this weekend, because I think we would go to Villa and should beat them, really, and under the circumstances. Okay, Baz is going to get an answer in about 3 weeks.
I just think for us, I'm going to get what?
I was going to say, you're going to get an answer back in about 3 weeks here. Jesus. What is going on?
Oh no. Went back to you still talking, what you just told me. So I don't know what happened there.
Are you watching on YouTube, or are you just listening to me on Skype?
I'm watching on YouTube.
No, don't.
I'm listening to you on
just
Skype. Listen
to me on Skype and don't have YouTube on.
But I've got to have the comments on, haven't I? You donut. Okay, hang on.
It's not normally this bad. It's normally really fluid, this. It's just because we're in our COVID bunkers.
We are. Sophie Gallagher says, thoughts on the AGM tomorrow?
I haven't really given it a minute's thought, to be honest. But it could be good because of the... Well, I say it could be good. There's obviously the situation with the stadium, but they haven't had planning permission, so it's not like they can just announce that the stadium's ready. The stadium is... We all know the stadium's ready to go, but they can't announce it because there hasn't been a planning permission meeting, so that's on the council. How the council haven't got something as big as an important into a planning permission meeting is an absolute joke. They're probably still talking about someone's bus stop at the end of the street, which is... I know that there must be a list, but for God's sake, something like this should be top of the list. If there's a planning permission meeting, or if there isn't one, create a planning permission meeting. Do you know what I mean? Get it sorted. Yeah, just get it sorted, because it's a nonsense. I'm listening to... The government have just allowed a coal mine to be built by Morecambe. They're just not asked. So just get the meeting done, get it started, get it rubber stamped, and let's get it built. Yeah. It's a joke. They're literally, the people who are holding up our stadium are this council for not getting a meeting sorted. Just get an extraordinary meeting for a planning permission. Get it, and we can start building the bleeding things. And then what does that mean? It means money into the city and jobs for the city. The council are the ones holding it up.
Yeah, it's mad. It's absolutely mad.
Mm. Mm.
So far.
Yeah. Excellent.
You realistically see us finishing this season? European play. That's what we want.
Mm.
We're in there so long.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Dunriggle.
Yes. Newfound.
Can't wait. Am I gonna be blown away by the quality? Of course you are.
Depends what you're used to in terms of quality, but they're good.
Yeah, Andrew Cunningham says I'd write Gabamon off for this season if he plays at all. It's a bonus. Yeah,
Who?
Andrew.
Who?
Andrew. Yeah, Paul 123. Obi is like Barkley. Whale beater one week, a donkey the next. He's a footballer, not a football player. Okay. Listen,
it's an interesting take. It's an interesting take.
It is an interesting take. Keith Johnson says Brantwaite is just on loan. Well, yeah, I think it's going to be announced if it hasn't already.
No, it hasn't been announced.
Right, okay. Paul 123 says good move for Brantwaite. He needs plenty of minutes. Blue Dog says Tom Davis loses the ball all the time and keeps passing the ball backwards.
He doesn't because he had 90% last night. So
yeah, 93% passing accuracy, and most of his passes were sideways, to be honest, not backwards. Mitchell says, is it through lack of options that every manager has picked Davis to an extent, including one of the best managers in the game, or is it just that he's a decent player?
I think it's the latter. I think it's just that he's a decent player. He does a job that people ask him to do, and again, I just get fed up with it. I know I had a bit of a rant last night on one of my videos, but I just get fed up with it. Constant scapegoating of Tom Davis is hilarious as far as I'm concerned. He's not perfect, he's not brilliant, but I look to the bench and I think to myself, is there anyone on that bench can do this job? And the answer is no. The job the manager wants him to do. If he wasn't good enough, he'd be bombed. We've got players like Bernard who don't get a sniff. We've got other players who don't get a sniff who you'd think, like when John Joe Kenny, the backup right back, doesn't get a sniff. And Nkunku, the backup left back, doesn't get a sniff. This Cenk Tosun doesn't get a sniff. If the manager didn't want to play him, he wouldn't play him. He'd find other things. He'd put a Ben Godfrey in there. He'd put a Mason Holgate in there. He'd find a workaround, but he hasn't. He likes Tom Davis, like all the other managers have liked Tom Davis. There must be a reason why he's played over 100 times for Everton. And fine, if he doesn't do the job you want him to do, that's fine. But you know what? He does the job the manager wants him to do. Is he Alan? No, he's not Alan. Of course he's not Alan. Alan is a Brazilian international who's played in Serie A and international games for Brazil. He's Tom Davis. He's doing his own thing. If we brought in better players, would Tom Davis get into the team? No, he wouldn't. But again, that comes down to circumstance. That comes down to where we are as a club. But to get continually on the back of a player, and I said that last night as well, I hold my hands up. I've done this myself. I have scapegoat Jordan Pickford. Not scapegoated him, but you know what I mean. I've said numerous times about Michael Keane when he wasn't playing well, and the confidence levels with Michael Keane rather than anything else. I've done it myself, but it just seems to be when I see these things about Tom Davis is a championship player or Tom Davis should be doing this. Well, guess what? Carlo Ancelotti, who you all love, picks Tom Davis. The fella you all love. The fella you buy bottles of beer on because it's got Carlo Ancelotti's picture on it. The guy you buy t-shirts for. The guy that you sing the song for. He picks Tom Davis. So either we get on board with this or what's the point?
Agreed. Jarman says straight up question. Do you honestly think we sign anybody? It's more about trying to get people out the door, I think. Stephen Caldy says, would you go for Neto and Ruben?
Why?
They're both very good players. I don't think Wolves should be they are of them. Basic trigonometry says, what is it with the tape phoner? Don't know. Can't answer it, mate. Owen Roberts says, can we take Spurs? Yeah, we can. It'll be tough because they are. Why not a home game? And who knows who will be back then?
If we play them. If we play them.
Wickham
if we play them. Yeah.
Can be. Random Upload says, here where I live in Suffolk 4 years for a third crossing bridge. Stadium will. Well, a new stadium
when we get planning permission,
ready to go. it's on Everton, that, isn't it? Something like a bridge is on. I guess it's on the council and other things like that. Whereas this is a private stadium. 6 says it leave Tom Davis alone, please. And Luke Ward says leave Tom Davis alone, Blues. Ped's right. Joseph Carey says it's poor when you can't remember how many Tom Davis passes. How many passes Tom Davis makes that are positive. Hang on. Well, I thought Luca Dean was excellent last night, but if you go and look at his stats aren't that good. So sometimes your eyes will see things that aren't really there. Tom Davis, 86% pass completion, 19 out of 21 were in the middle third that he completed. He completed 50% of his passes in the attacking third. Completed 75% of his take-ons, 4 ball recoveries, won 100% of his tackles, completed 100% of his clearances, completed 100% of header clearances, won 100% of his aerial duels, didn't commit a single foul, and was fouled once. So they're the stats, whether you like them or not, they're the stats.
And he's not there necessarily. You want him to be... Listen, we want him to be positive. We want him to be on the front foot. But if his job is to sit in front of the back four and protect the back four, the stats you just read out suggest that's what he's doing. Right? They're the stats. Do we... When Alan's playing, do we sit there and do we go over his attacking stats?
Well, some people did at one stage. Some people were ready to write him off, and then all of a sudden we can't play without him because people
when Garner was playing, did we sit down and were we always looking at Garner's attacking stats? Is this not what we're talking about here? Are we talking about a player whose job is to sit in front of the back four? That's his job in the team at the moment, right? That's his team. That's his role. And he's always available. He's always fit. You've got no marks out there who are never available, who are always on the treatment table because they just can't be asked. It's mad the way we look at certain directions and we just hammer certain people for actually wanting to play. And yet we're not hammering people who couldn't care less, who are more happy sitting who were more happy sitting on their nearly £100,000 a week, sitting in the dressing room, sitting in the treatment table, most of their Everton career, and yet we hammer a kid all the time for wanting to play, wanting to do the right thing. It's mad. It's just mad. It doesn't make any sense.
I can't say anything different. What can you do? Know what I mean? But you've just got to get on with it, haven't we? We'll just get on with it. And some people, he won't be good enough for some people ever, so that's fine. I think Mina's the same kind of thing with Mina, but it's each to their own. T33 Top makes a really good point. It's because of where and when Davis gives the ball away that makes him seem worse than he actually is. And I think that sometimes he does take a chance in a dangerous area, and if he loses the ball, he might do everything else right in the game, but people think back to that one moment. And I think that damages him, really. But what can you do? Dean Spicer said, nothing wrong with Davis, solid backup for Alan. Nothing special, but does a job for us.
Yeah.
And that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Joseph Carey said Tom Davis is too inconsistent. Maybe, but people though, whatever he does, people will still.
Who's this? Sorry.
Tom Davis. Yeah. Both of them, I mean, it's the same. Yeah. No matter what they do, people will always have a go at them, and that's fine. Everyone's got their own opinion, and that's fine, isn't it? But what can you do? Okay, get out of here. Just spun off me. If Ped, this from Glenn Watson, if Ped did do a celebrity boxing wrestling match or Ninja Warrior event, what would be his intro music when he's coming down the aisle?
Mine.
Z-Cars, living in America or
We
something
wouldn't
else.
be living in America, would it? Because I don't live in America. That'd be just factually incorrect. It'd be a
right.
bit of
Well,
AC/DC just to get the blood pumping. Bit of a.
uh,
Let's get over to Patreon. We haven't been over to Patreon.
let me just
Do you feel neglected?
This is just
Go on.
Francis says, can we have a word for Mina? The lad is class.
Yeah.
Absolute myth. He's an accident waiting to happen. I sent a video in saying stick with him on the Ask Us Anything a few weeks ago. The fella is boss. That's it. Start over to
Benjamin says,
over
hi.
to-
Oh, hi. Feeling good after a decent win. Mark G, Matty Lamb, Yannick, they're all saying hello, Joe. Prince Rupert says, leave Tom Davis alone. Just leave him alone. I just did it in that voice because that's what it felt like. It felt like that YouTube video. Mark G says, I was Sofa King close to top spot. I know. Yannick says, completely mad in some of the complaints from our fan base after a win. Winning points and being fourth is far better than playing a bit more attractive and losing matches and dropping points. There is a beauty in playing effectively against opponents, in my opinion. Even if it's not the most progressive football, the table speaks for itself. Up Don Carlos, Toffees. And then Mark G says, gotta complain about something. It's in the charter. No, there's nothing. Listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with their winning in the style we've won our games in, because it's effective. And in a season like this, that's what you need to be, effective. And also, when you're trying to win when you're trying to build a team, you've got to do it dirty, haven't you? Sometimes you've got to do it dirty. This is what I think previous managers have not been able to do. Certainly the likes of Silva. This is where he fell short, is that he couldn't win dirty. It was like he had this idea of winning games of football, and he couldn't. It was like when it worked, but when it didn't work, we didn't have that default setting where we could go and win games. Where Carlos got all the nous, got all the experience to win us those games of football. When, okay, circumstances are not brilliant, you've got no centre forwards, or you're playing 4 centre backs, you finish the game with 4 centre backs, two full backs on the pitch. But it's just about getting the job done and getting us to a position where, listen, if we get Europe next season and the crowds come back, and we've got the added revenue and we can bring a few more players in, then suddenly everything's looking a lot more rosy and we've got the planning permission for the stadium. Then you're thinking, we're going places here. And that's off the back of this season, where it was always going to be tough and there wasn't too many expectations, and everything's just a little bit up in the air anyway. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Chenla, he said he signed up 30 seconds ago to Patreon. Well, nice one, mate. Mathew Lamb says, would you rather be trapped in a room with a tiger, 1,000 wasps, or Stacey Solomon, but you can't harm her?
Why would you want to harm her?
I don't know. By the way, and I can't do it right now, but one of the selling points for Patreon at Leicester was, someone asked me to do a Stacey Solomon Turkey impression on my instant match reaction. Don't ask, Baz. Don't ask. And I just said I couldn't do it because it's a Patreon exclusive.
There is. You can't be selling that away.
So I can't even do it now. But that might be the basis of Matty Lamb's question.
Show me it.
I'd rather be in a room with Stacey Solomon, because I'd just sit there and do nothing, and that would be fine, because that's what a normal human being would do, Matty. Don't know what you do. Why would you want to hurt a defenceless person?
I mean, T33 Top says 370 watching and only 83 likes. Come on, people.
Mark G says, pretty sure we're the best team in England. I don't think you're wrong. Dean says, he's not little, he's far, far away. Bobby C says, an excellent result and a good performance away to Wolves, plus players like Iwobi showing marked improvements, makes us all feel better, doesn't it? We still need to improve the squad, but which current players do you think still need to be moved on? Bass.
What players do I think need to be moved on?
Yeah.
I think, as much as I like Bernard as a footballer, he's not physically good enough, so move Bernard on, Tosin on, John Joe Kenny, obviously Balassi and Bezic will have to move on. Larsel could be going as well, which is a good thing. And then it's about
Build.
Gylfi, and we'd probably move on. Well, Delph without a shadow. Maybe even Andre Go. Then with better players who are athletes and players who can get around the pitch and stuff like that. And then your squad and your team would improve. But available the money back, so that would then enable us to spend players. So there's a few there before the squad starts becoming a squad that is able to off.
Yeah.
But look how good the manager is at the moment that he's getting, and the coaching staff, all the stuff they're putting in, all the work they're putting in, and Everton are in.
Lines E65 says, even lads and fellow Blues. Well, lads, as I said last night, I really was confident about the game because regardless of who Carlo plays, he's instilled a steely confidence in our team. Nobody can question him, and the lads all want to play for him. Loving it. They certainly are. Stephen Hill says, hi lads, great win. How do you think the game plan will evolve long term? Feel like we are playing a pragmatic style of football at the moment, but I'd like to see a clear identity evolve long term. One that would allow us to take the game to teams and rotate players in and out a little easier. Personally, I think, Stephen, that will come with better players. I think the more better players is moments in the game. So the first goal, that shows you the kind of football that can happen in like short spells. But you're right, you want to dominate, you want to crush teams, don't you? And that comes from having a set of players that are simply good enough to do that. The way we're playing at the moment is a style that suits the players that we've got available. And the manager said that himself afterwards. He said it's about putting a team out and playing to work with that team. And we did that last night. So it's going to take players. I don't think it's going to be something that... I don't think he sits down every day in the training field and says to his players, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to... all these, fancy triangles and all the rest of it or whatever. I think it's about creating moments in the game. And this is what most teams do. You look at Liverpool and you look at Man City... and you look at Man United, they have, like, Liverpool score loads of goals from playing the crossfield ball with the two wide men coming inside all the time, out to in. You watch Man City, they pass, they get to the box, they pull it back, and how many times did they get that tap in from just on the 6-yard box? Manchester United love creating the opportunities to play the counter-attack, to get Rashford and the other lads in. And all these teams, they don't... Man City might be slightly different because the way they pass the ball makes that opportunity. But Liverpool don't rely on pass. In fact, Liverpool rely more on the long ball than anyone else. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They rely on crosses. You only have to look at Robertson. You have to look at the other lad, Alexander Arnold. You have to look at him. They create opportunities. So those two lads get wide and they keep on putting the ball in the same area, and their forwards and their midfielders know when to make those late runs. That's what they work on. They work on systems to get that ball, and that's what I think is the whole point. You're not going to get a team that's just going to go pass. That's what City do. It doesn't work for anyone else. Liverpool have the press, so they can get the ball high up. Southampton have the press. We don't play with a press. We don't have the high energy players. So it's just about creating situations. We like putting the ball into the box through crosses. That is our big thing. I think the way to look at it, ideally, I don't know if you agree with me on this, Baz, but I think take the Fulham goals, right? That's how I think Carlo wants to play. So think of one of the goals, the Corres. It starts with Iwobi on the right. He comes in field. He gets the ball to James Rodriguez. Dean then creates the width, which allows midfielders to get into the box, with Richarlison to get in the box as well. Dean is then on his own because Richarlison's moved inside. Dean puts a ball in, and we've got 3 options in the box, and it just happened that it was Decore. I think they're the kind of setups that Carlo wants to create. And you seen that yesterday with the switch ball. That's why he loves James Rodriguez. James Rodriguez plays the switch ball. No one's marking Dean because he's gone so high up on the left. They've dragged them all to the right because Iwobi's coming inside. And that creates that space on the outside for Dean. It's just that Iwobi got himself into that position. And I think they're the kind of setups Carlo Ancelotti wants to create at Everton. Those little moments. And it's... Exactly.
The thing about it is, he's very good at is keeping things very simple for footballers.
Yeah.
He keeps it simple. We've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's brilliant in the air, so why wouldn't you put crosses into and get people involved in it? You know, and he said on his press conference before the Wolves game, you know, maybe having Richarlison through the middle means we play it, we're more effective with a final ball, getting them in behind. You know, with Dom in, we put crosses in and get on the end. Everything's simplistic. It's down to Duncan Ferguson and David Ancelotti on the training ground to go through the drills about the play. Carlo stops it and says, do this, do that. Man City are an example of a team that's coached and coached and coached and coached and coached into everything to the nth degree. They love that tapping at the far post. They love that. But you're not afraid to hit a 70-yard forward pass to Salah, and he's about creating those moments in a game, and that's what we do. We have defensive structure, possession. We were exceptional, getting in a dropping into our shape. We were absolutely brilliant at it, and then it's in possession. You open, then the Hammers can create something. It's why Iwobi's been really important to us, because he runs with players and commits people. And the more players you get like that in your team, then the more unpredictable you become, and then you win games. So
yeah,
things are going well.
Right, let me keep on with the patrons here.
Grey
Lead says, "Go Eagle Fang." Some of you will get that. It's a good joke. I appreciate that. Dawn Williams says, "Love the Fet mug, Ped." Thank you, Dawn.
Well, you're showing the Fet mug off. Julian Becerra says, "Colombians are very grateful to you Evertonians for the love you've shown Mina and Hammers. I hope they perform good this season."
Gazzy FC says, "Apologies if it's come through twice. It seems Ped has mentioned in the game match reaction that Keane and Mina are becoming the best centre-back partnership in the Premiership." I said, our best centre-back partnership. Let's all steady. Calm down. Take it. I don't make statements like that. But is there an argument there to it? But is there an argument today they could get to the same league as Rats and Degsy? No, let's back it on that. Just back it down. What I said was they were our best Premier League partnership. That had been proven. And what I also said was that it was really important that they keep continuing to score goals between them. And if we could get double figures between them, that would be absolutely huge. If we could get double figures in goal scoring between them. So they're never, ever, ever going to be Ratcliffe and Mountfield, because they were just the best as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, Matthew Flynn says, "Oh, hi guys. I'm sure the consensus is the same around Evertonians, but I thought something had just come through then from Everton. But I just love watching James Rodriguez play football. Even when he's running with the opposition players, you can tell he's too slow. Then you worry he's going to get caught, and he just stops the ball, pings a pass, because he knows the ball is always faster than the players. Needs to be 99 passing on FIFA, in my opinion. Yeah, he's just boss, isn't he? He just creates angles for passing, and you're right. And he's not afraid to do, and this is how you can tell he's played with really good players. He's not afraid to pass to one of our players when that player's got players on them, because what he expects from playing at good sides is that those players,
will be able to take
and this
the
is
ball.
another thing about having good players, and this is where maybe you do look at some of our players and think we will need better, because of course we'll need better players. The best players have no issue with taking the ball when they're under pressure, because they're so confident in their own ability, and I think that distinguishes some players from others, and you see that all the time with them.
Matty Lamb makes a really good point.
No, I don't believe it.
Honestly, listen, and you'll be surprised. I don't think people realise that Everton's players lose the ball all the time. Your opponent gets the better of you. It's part of the game. It's FIFA or something that when you give the ball, you should never lose it. But you're up against players trying to take the ball off you. June Kearn says, on the whole, Tom Davies had a solid game. Don't agree with the negative comments. Yeah, again.
Richard Parr says, lots of chat about Kenny to Burnley for $7 million today. Think it'd be a good deal for both parties. Yeah, that'd be a great deal. Great deal. Adam Lilfer says, totally agree with Ped comments about being a bit tough with Iwobi and Gordon to drag the best out of them and being sink or swim. I think they're from the final word, which will be available on YouTube after this video. Those that choose to swim will look back when their career is over and think, what a super manager he really is. Also, was so impressed with Iwobi's finish. It was one of those where you need to strike it absolutely perfect, or you could end up looking daft. I could be overhyping here, but it takes a proper high level of technique to pull that off. I absolutely agree, Adam. I think Iwobi is a very, very good technical footballer. I think what's let him down is decision making, work rate. Looks fitter, I think, at the moment. I think and that's games, isn't he? That's playing more games.
The one when he went on that sprint down the line, I couldn't believe how quick he was.
He nutmegged someone as well, didn't he? He nutmegged them and then got round them. Yeah. I've just noticed someone in the comments saying, Tom Davies, future captain. Ha 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 ha. Nah. Well, don't you mean Tom Davies has been the captain? Tom Davies has captained Everton loads of times. So factually, you're wrong. Jace Fairen says, great result last night. Went in with zero expectations, so dead happy with the win. I was devoed. We never got to see Adama Traore versus Go Gadget Godfrey. Guess you could have. Yeah, that would have been interesting.
I wasn't devoted. No. Didn't get to see it. That was
Big Jan says, evening all. How do you like them apples? Great result. Kev Rex, or as I like to call him, Big T, says, thank God for Live at 5 on Toffee TV. I've been homeschooling all day and my head's wrecked. Been trying to get my head round ratios. Lol. What do you think about Iwobi last night? For me, he started well, but fizzled out second half. I'm beginning to see some potential in him at last. At least he travels with the ball and gets forward. No, I agree. I agree, Big T. He had a great first half and he did go a little bit quieter in the second half, but I just don't think we were getting the ball to him as much in the second half.
But don't forget, second half, he stopped Nori getting down the line a lot. He created their goal in the first half, didn't he? So I think he was more defensive second half, but he still had those breakout runs from that right hand side. So
Few says last 5 away games, 4 wins and a draw. Surely our best run in the Premier League history. Hate doing it, but we are. If we'd managed to beat Leeds and West Ham at home, well, you know where we'd be right now. I know, but if my auntie had, hair on her chest and stuff, it's you learn from you learn from your defeats. Carlo actually said after the West Ham game that should have been a draw, so we have to go and make up for it in our next game. We did. We did. Adam Smith says Peg going full Frankie Howard last night in the player ratings, going on about Keane's long balls and Yerry's big weapon. Ooh, matron.
Matron.
Brian.
Paul 123 says, would you rather sell Bernard now or keep him until the summer so we can send Anthony Gordon out on loan? You can't let both go, but there's not much point having both. Sure on that, isn't it? Because I totally agree. There's no point on the bench. And therefore, what I would tend to do is leave it until late in the window and see if there's any bites on Bernard.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, then send Anthony out on loan. Yeah, Anthony Gordon out on loan.
Yeah, of course.
But if you can sell Bernard now, then it slices the wage bill and it's money in the kitty. So
yeah,
because there was talk of the Olsen thing, wasn't there? But that at the moment that just
again, I think they'll wait. They'll wait till last minute. Got a whole month, haven't you? And he's on loan, so why jump in when something else might present itself? AJ No says if you could not be a co-op and you had to be single, who would be the manager and who would be the assistant manager of Everton out of Ped and Baz? P.S. This includes media and keeping a cool head.
I'd definitely be the manager because I'm calmer. Ped would be the assistant because I'd send him in to rattle him, absolutely rattle him, and then I'd come in quieter and go, right. I think you're more. I think I can. You've got the when you're annoyed.
Yeah.
You'd get them.
You'd be the Brian Clough, and I'd be the other fella,
the Peter Taylor.
Yeah, that'd be the mastermind behind it all. I just sit off and let the Piv do everything.
Piv couldn't motivate you.
No, that's the problem. The Piv would walk in with his cat and he just wouldn't be able to moat everyone. I'd get kicked out. Gareth Hughes says another Carlo tactical masterclass. Let's be honest, who else was scratching their head when he saw the team? Well, you know, it's life, innit? Stop getting worried about what the team is and see what happens. Bobby C says, is DT's forehead jamming Baz's video and audio connection? I think it was.
So.
Alfie Boy says, Ped, I remember last January you were begging for us to sign Zlatan. If only we did, because he's gone into AC Milan and transformed them. I know, mate. Honestly, he would have been amazing for us. I don't know why people. It's like people now. People would have Ronaldo. People would have Messi, and that's the same way I feel about Zlatan. He would just change the culture of football, but that's fine. That's fine. He didn't. He's gone to AC Milan and the boss because he's just cracked the whip, hasn't he?
He's a good player though.
But he sets standards as well.
No, he does. But the reason why it's great going, I've won this and I've won that. But if you don't perform, people then just look at you and think you're a has-been.
Exactly.
Mate. But he's not. He's still able to perform.
Fit.
So people will listen.
Gareth says, who wins the following out of you two? An arm wrestle, a pub quiz, the eliminator in Gladiators. I'm quite confident I'd win the arm wrestle. I'm quite confident I'd win the eliminator in Gladiators. And I'm actually quite confident I'd win the pub quiz as well.
We know those three states are totally young.
So hang on. So which of the two? Not a chance! I would. Oh my god, you can't move. I do 5k every couple of days.
Have you seen how fast I am?
No, I haven't, because I haven't seen you. You retired. You wouldn't even play at Goodison the last time it was offered to you because you said your back had gone. I would destroy you. I would absolutely eat you alive.
Quiz, I'd eat them every day.
And my legs cover the ground well quicker than yours.
I was always being quicker, mate, and I still would be now.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't be able to beat you over 5k.
And imagine the bit at the top where you've got to grab it. I'd have the tactical advantage.
With the height. Maybe. Poor quiz, a chance.
Yeah, my ass. Joe Elton says, I'm getting fed up with these Davis shouts now. I'm by no means his biggest fan, but he was good last night. Better in the first half. Constantly looking to go forward and taking the ball on the turn. Everything he does... wrong for people seem to remember. All of the good moments seem to get forgotten. Yeah, absolutely spot on, Joe. Richard says, oh my God, what's with the Tom Davis hate? He's been a solid 7 out of 10 this season. He's one of us too, which would make people want him to do well. It's just bullying at the point, plain and simple. And Big Kev T-Rex says, do you think we could convert Dean into a left winger now? Potentially could be what we need for the rest of the season if no signings coming in. Spurs did it with Bale back in the day. Started life as a fullback, I seem to remember. No, Dean's a left back as far as I'm concerned. He's an absolute left back, and he wants to be left back. And for me, he's not. I don't think he's like tricky enough to be a winger. So I would definitely have him as a left back.
He's created the most. He's got 5 assists in 9 games so far. This season, it's the most in the league.
Yeah.
Andy Robertson's got 5 in 17. No, look at Dean is. I think what it does, right? What it does is it just gives you the opportunity to play different formations, and you've got flexibility with it. But I don't think we need to start looking at changing people's positions like that. But it's good that they can actually do it. It's one of them, isn't it?
It's one of them.
But it's a CPA says Evening Blues, a great win. Go listen to the Nerd Social Club. Check us out on Twitter. It's Aaron, isn't it?
It's big ass. Big ass, eh?
Matty Flint says, we know Tom Davis tries, but if he want to play Champions League, he's not good enough. Well, it's about a squad. And you're right. To go higher up, we need better players, but we could say that about a few of our players. But it doesn't mean that he's not effective now. I don't think he was great last night, but he wasn't as bad as what people say. So we do just need to back our players. It's the same with Yerry Mina. People just want to pick on Yerry Mina. for no reason other than they don't like him. So it's
Same
always
reason
the
they don't.
same.
It's the same reason with Tom Davis,
that.
though. People don't like Tom Davis. That's the simple fact. They don't like that it's a kid who lives his own life, who wears his own clothes, he does his own things. He doesn't conform to what people think it should be, is what a footballer is. You know, he doesn't throw his whole sort of soulless existence on Instagram about what car he's driving or what watch he's wearing, and therefore somehow that, you know, he goes out and he's helping people on the streets. He's going out for a game of chess with his brother. The lad is a model professional. He's doing everything right, and the manager trusts him to play in a game of football. If he didn't, he wouldn't play him. So by having a go with Tom Davis, you are de facto having a go with Carlo Ancelotti, right? Simple as that. Simple as that.
This is the best. This is the best comments. Balassi used Toffee TV to get exposure, and Baz and Ped fell for it. That's the worst comments of
literally
the day.
That's the worst
What
comments.
Did we fall for? We interviewed a professional footballer that plays for Everton and asked him about his career, asked him about what he wanted to do, and that was it. He's a nice fella. Don't be, because he's a footballer and you want him gone out the club, don't just call him out as he's not a nice he's not a nice fella, or he isn't trying. You don't know what goes on in the training ground. Do I think Yannick Balassi is good enough to play for Everton? I don't know, but it's not my decision. The manager doesn't think so, so there you go. And Yannick Balassi will move on. I don't understand why people have to make it personal.
I don't think he's good enough for Everton.
Weird.
I haven't felt he was good enough even when we were doing the interview. What it was good to do was hear his side of the story. I've heard his side of the story, and I still don't feel he's good enough for Everton. If people wanna make decisions based on what's gone on or whatever that's happened in the past, fine. But to say that is just hilarious, because we got an opportunity to interview an Everton player and get his side of the story. Listen, I once interviewed Andy van der Meijden while he was in the bath, right? Do I think he was a tit at Everton? Yes, I do. But I had an opportunity to hear his side of the story. And you know what I mean? It's like, people take the interview and they can take what they want out of it, right? Yeah. The same way you can take what they want out of any interview that anyone does. It's his side of the story, right? Are we sitting here bigging him up to come into the team? No. I hope he leaves this window. I hope he leaves and goes and gets on with his career, because that's what he should be doing. It's what he should have done in the summer. He's an idiot for not leaving when he got an opportunity. But do I appreciate the fact that he came on? Yes. Do I appreciate that he gave us his side of the story? Yes. Do I appreciate him as a human being? Yes. But do I want him playing football for Everton? No. But I don't sit here going, you're an absolute knobhead, you're an absolute knobhead. I need to get angry about something. No, I don't. I just go, that he's a human being that may have made mistakes in things that he said in the past. And fine. That's life. Everyone makes mistakes all the time. People make mistakes all the time.
That's it, isn't it? He'll go. Like with us. Anyone. It'd be the same with any player. You interview them, you treat them with. Yeah. And if those people that find me. People just want to hate someone, and it's as you move up and we get better and better, players who they like now will become the thing of their hatred. The same with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Don't really want to like him, so now it's he's not scored in 5 games now. I knew it was a a freak, or it was this or that, and yet the reality is he's brilliant. So they have to take it out on other people. It's just dead. I find it dead weird. We don't always have to dislike players. Just it is. If you trust this manager, he will put the best players on the pitch, and players will get a go. And if they don't get a go, it's because he doesn't think they're good enough. Yannick Bolasie isn't in Everton's 25-man squad. The manager obviously doesn't think he's good enough, and it's down to Carlo Ancelotti. The same with Anthony Gordon, doesn't play every week. The manager watches him in training every day. If he doesn't think he's good enough, he's not in there. If he did think he was good enough, he'd be playing, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Same with Niels and Kunku.
Yeah.
Actually, every time I've seen him, Kunku, I think he's done all right. But obviously, he's not doing something in training every day for the manager, so that's the way it is. You'll always disagree with people because everything is your own perception of stuff. But some of the comments I just think are mad, absolutely mad.
Glenn Watson just said about you just said about the Andy van der. I'd seen in the comments about the Andy van der Meijden interview. It was when I was for Folletonians, my old podcast. He was in the bath, which I didn't know till the end. There was no video or anything. It was just audio over Skype. And at the end, he was just like, "Oh, I'm in the bath." I was obviously in my house. He was in Holland. It was a really good interview. The Echo actually took the interview and put it and used it as a double-page spread. It was a good interview. But yeah, it was about 2010, I think, or 2011 it was. So it would be out there somewhere. Thor says, "So why do all the managers trust Gylfi Sigurdsson? Your reasons managers trust Gylfi Sigurdsson the same as Tom Davis. Maybe he does. Maybe he does things that are important for the team, but not for the fans. Gylfi Sigurdsson probably has bigger football brain than you give him credit for." Is that you? Are you directing this at us? Because we've said these things before. We've said all these things about Gylfi Sigurdsson. If you watched the final word, I actually was talking about Gylfi Sigurdsson last night by actually not doing anything. He was doing something, which is a bit weird. But that's what I was saying. Like, the manager trusts Gylfi Sigurdsson on the pitch. He trusts him with set pieces. He is a very intelligent footballer. His legs don't always listen to his brain. That's one of the problems. But the manager obviously thinks he's an important player, and that's all we can do. And yeah, it frustrates us, and we can have a little bit of I will have a little bit of a laugh about Gylfi now and again. But Gylfi seems to be one of the, funny enough, I was doing a thing on Monday for Premier League TV, which basically goes around the world. It's like Sky Sports News, but it goes around the world. They don't have it here, and I'd done my bit, and you do it on Zoom, and they normally just leave you on it so you can watch the show. Yeah, you can watch it, can't you? Yeah. And I was watching about Gylfi, and he was like, I love Everton, love being here. It's a huge club, biggest club, and all this kind of thing. He was like, I want to score 100 goals in the Premier League. That's my aim. I want to score 100 goals. So he was like, there was no like throwing the towel in from him or everything. He was like, I've been asked to do a job by the manager, blah blah blah, and all this, and it was really good chat. Really. You know what I mean? I think he's one of those players. The manager obviously trusts him a lot. A lot of people are like, why is he the captain and all these kind of things? But it is literally that thing of quiet leadership, isn't it? It's the whole thing that the manager subscribes to. And at times it frustrates us. And I know a lot of people look at the game last night and go, didn't do anything. And they'll react with anger. But you've got to put it into context at times of what the job he's doing. That's the way it is. The manager trusts him. AG, I like him as a footballer. Yeah. But it's his legs. I've got an Iceland shirt with his name on the back. It's in the studio. You know what I mean? It's his legs that is frustrating and annoying because he's not quick enough to get round the pitch. But as a footballer, technically, he's still very good. Mm-hmm. Do I think he should be in Everton's first team all the time? No. Yeah. You see it? Last night I was talking to Andy, like I said, before the game, seeing the team, and I was like, I'm happy he's playing there. Because if we're not, I'd rather him than Tosin, because I think he's a better footballer than Tosin. It's just that we couldn't get him any chances in the box, but put back to him. Yeah. I'd be backing him to score, I think, as part of the squad, the same as Davis, but as first choice, and then they're fine in the squad. Yeah, you just switch them over, don't you? Of course, that's what AJ says. Keane's form is really good. Says Keane's form is really good. He says Don Carlo's an amazing manager. He knows the team, knows how to get the best out of them. Ricky Kane joined Payton today. Yes, Ricky. Amazing content. Ricky is right. Where are we? AJ No says, Ped, if you were the Prime Minister and you have to create a cabinet, however, you can only choose Marvel heroes and villains to be your cabinet. Which would you choose? What are you? Who are you choosing to do what? Jesus Christ, AJ! That's a video on its own. I can't answer that right now. Stuart Thompson says, my problem with Tom is he seems to pass to the opposition team too much, but I will never call his effort. If Delph put half the effort Tom does, he would be better than Messi. Stuart, to be honest though, you look at his passing stats, mate. His stats don't necessarily back that up.
It's the ones that passes that you can see.
Yeah, I do agree.
It, and he does it. It's frustrating.
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Wayne Ellis says a few days off work after my night, so hello live at 5. Wayne Ellis also says Sheffield Wednesday's next 2 league games have been called off. Interesting. Mark G says, when we're actually fit, does Iwobi keep his place in the starting 11 with Hammers in a free role? And only really Allen and Decore in the centre midfield pivot. Second question, in our best 11, who plays right back for you? I'm saying Godfrey with Holgate and Coleman as subs. Mark, those scenarios never happen, ever. You never have your team fit, do you? Really? I think ideally, maybe Iwobi would stay in the team, so with Hammers, and you would have Allen and Decore. But
especially if you have someone like Godfrey or Holgate at right back, because you're keeping the insurance of having 3 proper defenders at the back. Yeah. So the midfield 2 won't be, if they leave their position, we're not as exposed as we have been in the past.
Yeah, I think we'd sacrifice maybe the right back for having Dean as the left back going up and down. Yeah. Let's have a look. Dawn says there is a young lad at Borough who's a right back who's being linked with today. His name is Dejan Spence. Have you heard anything about this?
We were linked with him at the end of the last transfer window. Spence, the right, he's a good talent. There's the kid at Reading we looked at as well, but I think he's going to Bayern Munich. The left back, yeah. But Spence is one who we have been linked with, yeah. Don't really know that much about him other than I know he's a hot prospect, and but I don't know, that's it, don't really. You'd have to probably ask Andy more on that. Not seen enough of him. I know he is, but not seen enough of him. Owain Roberts said, best fella I've met out the squad was Jermaine Beckford. Talked with us for about 3 minutes and stayed around the fans hours after the game. Nice fella. Joxan Schreiner says, Bazzy, do you want to bring in this window? I'd love Leon Bailey to come in, mate. I've said it before. He'd be my ideal one. Dave Walker says, Dom's not scored because he's knackered and not at the service. Go on if you've got one there.
I've got loads here.
Again. Yeah, go ahead.
Georgie says, Ped, you seen those free train? It's a strap that you put over your head and you can put your keys in it. Ideal for running. I have. When you said there's a strap, I thought you were talking about something different. Yeah, I have seen them, yeah. Yeah, they're very good. Alfie says, yesterday's result proves that Carlo is changing Everton mentality. That's the first thing Michael Keane said, didn't he, when they asked him about it? He said mentality. That's why we're winning more away games. He said, we don't have our best players and we aren't playing our best football, but we grind out wins. Yesterday's result proves that Carlo is changing Everton's mentality. We don't have our best players. And we... why has he put that twice? Sorry, I'm reading it out. He's done it twice. Rich Stephen says, hi guys, is the Villa game off due to COVID? Well, it's not off at the moment, but their training ground, excuse me, is still shut. So there's a lot of people speculating that it will be off because the training ground remains closed. James says, what I've noticed is, and it's very obvious, is that Iwobi looks so much quicker and a bit like with what Bayern do with their players, getting the players in big physiques and powerful players makes it so much more useful out there. Tom would benefit massively from this, and maybe he would get a lot less stick, which is what he deserves. He deserves less stick, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I suppose again, Tom. I bet you if you met Tom in real life, you'd probably be surprised at how big he is. Like a lot of Premier League footballers. They'll look at him and what his job is and decide and how tall he is and decide what kind of frame he needs. Don't forget when Ross Barkley put a lot of muscle on for us, it was the worst thing he ever did. And I know he did it because he was protecting himself from his injuries. But and I remember when Lukaku put all that weight on as well. At United,
slowed him down, didn't it? slows them down.
Gaz says Godfrey absolutely bossed the game for pace with his pace last night. Let me do a refresh. Have you got any more on there?
Centre field, the Gomez and James. I think he must mean Alonso.
Yeah.
Eugene says the Villa game's in doubt, because the training ground remains closed. That's what it is at the moment. Matthew Flint says, what do we think about the Pickford-Olsen situation?
I think it's brilliant. I think it's actually... Listen, I've been very critical of Jordan Pickford in the past. Everyone knows that. But I do believe that the Olsen thing has been absolutely brilliant, because I do think that it's really showed Pickford that he's got a challenge at the club. And I think in terms of man management, I think it's been absolutely spot on. I think the managers recognised the issues with Jordan Pickford, and maybe there was a issue with concentration or mentality. And I know he made a couple of little silly mistakes last night, but in a whole, I think since he got dropped against Southampton, forget about the Derby situation. But I think since he got dropped against Southampton, I do believe... Newcastle, I do believe that Pickford is starting to switch on to the bigger picture of Everton and the mentality side and what the manager wants. And again, if we do sign Olsen, that's another signal to him that he's got to be better. He's got to be more switched on. And that can only be a good thing, and that's come from the manager. That has come from the manager. He's looked at the situation, knows that he had to address it, and knew he had to go and get a number 2 that could play in the first team.
Yeah, I think Pickford's been very good lately. Really has. Is he gonna be the answer? I don't know long term, but he's still doing well. Olsen, I've got no problem when he's in. I don't ever worry when Olsen's in.
No.
It's not. He's not someone I'm like, oh, hold me. But I think he's just stable. It's just good, a good steady goalie. So it has been really good. Michael Winstanley says, does Godfrey have to start? I think he does. I think he's one of the few that are undroppable at the moment because of his mentality. Because of the mentality of him. I think that aggression and that speed of him, he doesn't give anybody a free ride. Daniel O'Connor says, is Sergio Romero out of contract at the end of the season? He can go now. But so
won't be going to us.
But maybe he's settled well. I know they're happy with the way Olsen's settled in.
Adrian Durham has just said on TalkSport that Everton's win over Wolves was the best performance from any Premier League side this season. It was tactically phenomenal. And he said it's between Keane and Maguire for England in a back 3. Interesting.
Yeah, fair enough. I said last night, I think I might have said to you as well, I just thought we were superb tactically last night. We really were. They're a good side. Wasn't their full strength side, wasn't Everton's full strength side, but they're still a very good side with lots of players who are comfortable on the ball. And I thought we were tactically fantastic last night. Final third, we need work on. I've said it before. I'm not made up with the way we are in the final third, but I just thought as a performance, it was our most fluid performance for months. And I think he might be overhammering it a little bit, but it was an excellent performance.
But it is about mentality, isn't it? It is about believing what the man... We've said this for ages. We said this about Silva. This was one of the big things about Silva that we kept on saying, was that the players clearly did not believe in what Silva was trying to do at Everton because he didn't believe it. Otherwise, he would have set his formation up like he wanted to, and he would have ran with it and seen what happened. But he didn't. And players clearly just didn't believe in him or didn't believe in Boa Morte or whatever. These players believe in the manager. If you believe in what your manager wants, you will do exactly what he says. You won't try and do your own thing because you know what will happen. You go back to the last time we played Wolves away from home. You remember what Seamus Coleman said after the game? He said there's a shock coming. There's a shock coming for some of these players. If they don't listen to the manager, he will bring better players in. And he will change things. And if you want to be part of that, it's time to knuckle down. And you are seeing a collection of players, and this is something we mentioned in the final word, where The manager has now created a ring around certain players and said, right, you obviously, like the likes of Iwobi, the likes of obviously Ben Godfrey.
Yeah.
These players are now part of this like inner circle. There's players who are on the outside, maybe looking in, like a Anthony Gordon, like a Bernard, like Shane Tosin. They're on the outside looking in, but there's players who are in this little mini squad within the squad who the manager now fully trusts and is prepared to play them because that's what you have to do, and that's where Gylfi Sigurdsson falls in, and you know that's where we are at the moment. So definitely. He's getting the most out because they fully back the manager, and if the manager says, "Go and do me a favour, play right wing back," then Iwobi will play right. It's not that you play right wing back, but you know what I mean. He'll play it, and he will do what the manager asks. Where the manager's looking at, like, say, Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon come on Saturday, and it was very clear that the manager was really annoyed when they scored because he felt like Anthony Gordon could have covered it, and it wasn't long. It wasn't long after that he was off the pitch, and that's what we're talking about when you know you look at that.
Definitely. Liam Hughes says, who's better in your opinion, lads? Love the vids. Prime Garner or Prime Allen?
I haven't seen Prime Allen yet. We haven't, have we? We haven't seen Prime Allen at all yet. I don't think he's completely settled into the Premier League. We haven't seen... Yeah, he is, but
I think
amazing.
Allen's a better footballer. I think Garner's a better... it's just more mobile. But they're both really good, definitely. Mike O'Glenn says, and now you're going to believe us. Eugene McGeever says Everton needs to sign a backup striker like Josh King this window.
No, I'm not for me.
Matt Love says Godfrey is the highest work rate in the club currently. You can tell he's playing his heart out. Paul Fitzgerald said now's the time for Mashiri to dig in deep. Sandra Dela Cruz says James, lots of love, lots of hearts and arms from Colombia. Hola, Sandra. Carlos King says we can't get Garner on loan now. I don't think he's in. Or can't we get Garner on loan? I don't think he's in PSG's plans. I don't know. Jokshan says if Silva didn't have a CDM, that's why he got sacked. Alex Goulding said, am I missing something here? I'm over the moon at results. We are winning with a negative style. Small margins between Wolves and West Ham. What do you mean? Are you missing something? We're in the top four, so it's great. Where are we? James says, best thing to come out of last night is Dean left midfield. Not the greatest defender, but in front of that back four is perfect with his attacking ability. Matty Flynn says we miss Alan in midfield big time. Wolves have worse injuries than us at the moment.
Why are people always looking to find negative slants?
We didn't have Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We didn't have Alan. James was back after being out. James Coleman's still not fully fit. I don't know whether he didn't have Traore and he didn't have Jimenez.
I just don't understand why people are always looking for negative slants on games from what we've won.
What about the West Ham game? There were 5 players out. If they beat us, you think they were sat there going, well, Everton didn't have him and Everton didn't have him. You know what? Liverpool win their games against teams who got half the club missing. No one. Don't say. Move on. We move on. Alex Smith, stadium won't get built. Doesn't look like there's much money left in the kitty. Fair enough, Alex. Keep smiling.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
It's
not the same kid.
Mike O'Glynn says James is an absolute jewel. And Lewis Hamilton, not the Lewis Hamilton, says Gomez should start the next game. He's been looking much better. He might have to because obviously the core is suspended. So if the core is not in, if the game does go ahead on Sunday at noon, then Gomez may have to play. Might be Davis, Gomez in midfield. So we'll have to wait and see. What he does. Personally, I'd put Holgate or Godfrey in there. Personally, at the weekend, probably Godfrey and play Luca the left back, but we'll see. Last of the Corinthians says it's just about getting the best out of what we've got at the moment, and that's what we're doing. Absolutely spot on. Mike R said, if Ben Godfrey had signed for the RS and performed the way he has out of position, the mainstream media would be pairing about him. Spot on. Joxan says, wait, why won't the stadium get built? It will. Joxan, someone's saying it won't.
They've just...
possibly a red, I don't know, Alex.
A local council in this country has just given permission to build a coal mine, right? And the government won't intervene. A coal mine. So if you think they're not going to build a stadium that is going to create millions of pounds for the city and create jobs when we're going through what we've gone through in the last year and will continue to go through till probably autumn, then you're mad just because of a couple of old buildings. A coal mine. They've allowed a coal mine to be 2021 and we're getting a coal mine. So think about it like that. It's up to the council to get the arses in gear, sort themselves a meeting and just say yes to gang of frauds.
Yeah, definitely. Basic Trigonometry says this is why Patron's Circle of Trust live at 5 is better. There you go.
There you go.
Dean Spicer says, I'd like the Villa game to go ahead and get the game out the way without the Corey, and they might have a weekend team. But they have to. They have to. We'll see.
Yeah, of course.
We'll see. Right. Let's swerve it. Daniel Higner, final one. What do you honestly believe James' optimal position is with a full squad with no injuries? Where do you think he's best, off the right or playing in that number 10 role?
I don't think his best position is having a position.
So where can he float more than in a 10?
Yeah, but obviously you've got to make allowances for him. But
off the right with another athlete in midfield.
No, I think that's that. I'm just saying in terms of where he is best. It's probably just doing what he wants, like he did last night.
Yeah. Make sure loads of you watching, just give it a little like. It really helps us, and we really appreciate it. Dave Walker says, go and take a walk down Bramley Moor when the lockdown's over. The area is crying out for this.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Spot on, Dave. It'll happen. There's honest to God, there's no doubt in my mind at all that it will happen. It'll get approved in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And off week. Well, hang on, what are we on? Well, in about the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think that it's been approved. And work will begin on it, because it needs it, and the area and that area will then be a boom.
Boom.
People are getting stuff, buying up land around there and stuff, hotels and everything, because it's gonna happen.
That's it. People are already buying stuff around there on the idea that so people know what's going on. Let's just finish off with a couple on here. Alfie Boy says it's bad Bolassi's holding the club back, knocking back interest to sit on his arse on a big wage. Michael says the reality to Dom not scoring was our 3 players who create chances were out. Dom nearly scored the word against Sheffield United. We are 4th and we are with our best 11 playing a handful of games together. I mean, the last time we had our best team started was Brighton, wasn't it?
No, because Alan didn't play.
The derby. Sorry, you're right.
The derby when everyone was fit, and we lost Coleman.
You're right, yeah.
Sorry,
you're absolutely right.
Well. So we were unbeaten with our best 11 starting.
Hang on, Brighton was before the derby, wasn't it? So.
No, it was after the derby.
No, Brighton,
wasn't it?
Brighton was before the derby.
Sorry, Brighton was before the derby. So the best 11. No, it was still a derby, wasn't it, when the best 11 played? So, but we were unbeaten with the best 11 when they started, weren't we? That was when they started.
James Shorten, when I mentioned about the physique, I agree. In my head, I was more thinking towards more power and pace rather than muscle, if that makes sense. Yeah, but you're only going to get more power and pace if you've got muscle. Aren't you? Phil O'Neill says Tom's job is to protect and shield the back four. We're not conceding many goals or chances, so we must be doing something right. Stuart Thompson says Donnarumma's out of contract. Just not getting Donnarumma. There's just absolutely no chance on earth.
Absolutely
no chance. And Gary Ward says maybe we could get a coal-powered stadium.
Who knows? Yeah, there's a couple. Julian Bashera says, I'm such a fan of this channel now. Thank you, Julian. And Stephen Segerberg says, Everton are no longer predictable to the opposition, playing smart under Carlo. That's a massive thing. It's a massive thing that you can't look at us and go, they're just going to do this. We can develop that more. It'll be fantastic. Right, thank you all very much. Hit that like button before you go. Get it above 200. It would be great.
Do it.
Matt Love says, if Keane does come back, would you play him on his current form or stick with DCL?
Keane's
stick
never
with
coming
Dom.
back for Everton, ever.
No, he's not, but if he did, but I'd still stick with Dom, but Keane would be a viable option. And Daniel Higgins said what Ped said, I think the squad works at its best with runners. We've seen that with Dean back last night. Up the piss boiling Blues. Most definitely. Right, we're going to wrap it up. Hit the like button before you go. That is very important. Thank you very much. And Julian's the last one. Exciting times.
There you go. It's always fun when we've won a game of footy, isn't it? It's always fun. Right, there you go. The final word is out on YouTube in about 7 seconds. So check that out. There you go. Thanks for watching, and see you all later. Bye.